I get a lot of emails claiming to be true stories. Some of them are obviously fake. Some feel like they might be real, but they're missing details. And then once in a while, I get something that feels like I'm reading a confession. This next story came from someone who asked me not to use his real name, or the real names of the people and places involved. He didn't want a title either. The email subject line just said, "I think I rescued a Skinwalker." He claims he still works in search and rescue. He claims this happened. I can't verify that. You can decide for yourself if you believe it. For now, I'll call him Caleb, the Skinwalker I brought back from the wilderness. My name is not really Caleb, but that is what you can call me. I am dying on my mother's side. I grew up moving between Gallup and a little community east of Window Rock. My mom worked at the hospital. My dad worked where he could, sometimes as a mechanic, sometimes on construction crews, sometimes hauling scrap when times were bad. The man who shaped me the most was my grandfather on my mother's side. I called him shit. He did not talk a lot, but when he did, everyone in the room went quiet. He had that dry desert kind of face, deep lines, eyes that looked at you and through you at the same time. He had herded sheep when he was young. Later, he worked the railroad. When that was done, he came back and worked as a ranch hand until his knees betrayed him. He was the one who taught me the rules, not school rules, not traffic rules. The other kind, the kind nobody writes down, but everybody remembers if they want to live long. When I was about 19, he started telling me things he did not tell my cousins. Not because I was special, mostly because I had started going off on my own, hunting in the hills. Driving alone at night, sleeping out in the open in places he did not like. He never said I could not go. He said if I was going to go, I needed to listen. The first time he told me the rules, we were at his place. He lived in an old single-wide on a rise of red dirt with a view over the... There was a sheep corral out back and a small hogan his grandfather had built. The skirting on the trailer was patched with mismatched metal. The wood stove smoked if the wind hit from the wrong angle. It was late September. The air was cool enough to sting a little when you breathed deep. We had spent the day hauling firewood. My shoulders ached. We were sitting on overturned buckets by the truck while the sun slid low. He rolled a cigarette, slow and careful. His hands never shook. "You go out there too much," he said, and tipped his chin toward the dark hills. "I like it out there," I said. "It is quiet." Quiet is not always good. He lit the cigarette and stared at the horizon. For a while, I thought he had forgotten he had spoken at all. Then he said, very calmly, "You know why we do not whistle at night?" I had heard it all my life. Do not whistle after dark. Do not call for things you cannot see. If I asked why, I usually got a shrug and the same answer. Just to know. "It is bad." "Bad luck," I said. He snorted. "White people say that. We do not say bad luck. We say you are calling something to you. Something that listens." Smoke drifted around his head. "You know why we keep the curtains closed at night?" he asked. "So people do not look in. So things do not look in," he said. "Listen to me, see. I will tell you this one time. After that, use your own head." He told me about Yinaldushi without ever saying the word cleanly. He circled around it like a rock in the road you do not step directly on. "A long time ago," he said, "there were people who did not want what everyone else wanted. The holy people gave us one way to live. They wanted another way. They learned the crooked way. They traded what was supposed to stay inside for things that came from outside." He watched me to see if I understood. I did not really, but I stayed quiet. That was the only thing you could do when he spoke like that. "They wear skins," he said. "First animal skins, later, if they go far enough. Other skins. People skins. They can walk like you, talk like you, laugh like you, but they do not move right. They do not smell right. They do not feel right. You do not always see it with your eyes first. You feel it here." He tapped his chest. "If something looks like a man," he said, "but your heart says no, then you listen to your heart. You do not argue with it. That is where people die, arguing with their own spirit. He stared at me until I looked away at the dirt. "These are the rules." "Caleb," he said, "I do not care how grown you think you are. They do not change." He counted them off on his fingers. "First, do not whistle at night. Not for your dog, not for your friend, not for a song stuck in your head. Second, do not answer voices from the dark if you cannot see who is calling you. Not in English, not in Navajo, not in any language at all. Third, do not open your doors or your windows after dark just because someone knocks or calls your name. Make them show themselves. Make them stand where you can see their eyes and their feet. Fourth, if you see someone you know, but something feels wrong, you leave. You do not argue. You do not tell yourself you are imagining it. You go." He flicked ash into the dirt. "And one more," he said. "Do not invite anything inside. Not into your house, not into your truck, not into your fire, not into your life." He did not tell a scary ghost story to go along with it that night. He did not need to. The way he said those words left my stomach cold. I wish I had listened better. A few weeks later, I broke the rules for the first time. My cousin Ray and I went camping near a place our people do not like to name. The white maps call it something like Red Mesa Recreation Area. Our names are older. They are not jokes. Some of those names say very clearly that you do not stay there after dark. We went anyway. We were 19 and 20. That stupid age when nothing bad has really happened to you yet, so you think that means nothing bad can. Ray brought beer. I brought my old rifle, a cooler, and a borrowed tent. We parked my Chevy at the end of a narrow dirt track and hiked into the rocks until the truck disappeared behind a hill. The first day was easy. We glassed for mule deer in the distance, talked about nothing, burned meat over a small fire. The sky went from blue to orange to purple. When the stars came out, they looked close enough to fall on us. We were sitting by the fire when Ray started whistling some stupid song from the radio. "Off-key and lazy? Do not do that," I said without thinking. "What?" He looked at me and grinned. "Grandpa going to come out of the sagebrush and smack me. It is bad luck," I said. "You sound like my aunties. It is just whistling, man." He whistled louder, just to get to me. I grabbed a small rock and bounced it off his arm. He laughed, but he stopped. The fire burned down. The wind picked up. The smell of dust and cold rock rolled through the wash. We turned in around midnight. I do not know how long I slept before I woke up. Not long. I woke because it was too quiet. The wind had died. No crickets. No night birds. Just a heavy stillness pressing on the tent. I lay there for a while, listening to my own breathing. Then my bladder reminded me I had been drinking beer. I tried to ignore it. That worked for about 60 seconds. Then I sighed and unzipped the tent as quietly as I could. The sky was clear. No moon. Just a black bowl full of stars. I stepped a few yards away to take a leak. I was halfway through when I heard it. Whistling. The same tune Ray had been using earlier. Not faint, not far. It was coming from down in the wash. I froze. My first thought was, Ray is messing with me. "Quit being stupid," I whispered. The whistling stopped. I took a careful step back toward camp. Gravel crunched under my boot. Then a voice came from the darkness in the wash. "Caleb." My name. Spoken in Navajo, in my grandfather's voice. She asks, "It cold? Come here." Every part of my body went tight. My grandfather had bad knees. He did not camp. He had no reason to be out there in the middle of nowhere. "Caleb," the voice sounded closer. Still down in the wash, but I get up, like whoever it was had climbed partway up the bank. I did not answer. My tongue felt thick and dry. The voice tried again. "Caleb, du, saha, come, and me." The words were in the right order, but something was wrong. You know how the voice of someone you love has weight and history in it. This one sounded like an empty copy, like a recording played through a bad speaker. My legs wanted to run. My pride wanted to shout something like, "Knock it off, Ray." What I did instead was stand there and shake. "Caleb!" The voice changed. It sounded a little like Ray. A little like my older brother. A little like my mother. It kept shifting. It was like someone taking different masks out of a bag and trying each one. Something moved in the wash. Soft steps on gravel. Dirt sliding. Then I heard claws on stone. Not boots. Not hooves. Claws. I eased backward until I bumped into my tent. My hand found the zipper. I got inside, yanked it closed, and crawled into my sleeping bag with my boots still on. The whistling started again. Closer. It circled our camp. I could hear it on one side of my tent. Then the other. It made that stupid tune sound like something dying. I wanted to call out to Ray. I wanted to ask, "Do you hear that?" If he did not, I would sound crazy. If he did, we would both have to admit we were scared. Neither option felt good, so I lay there and stared at the ceiling of the tent until the sky outside turned faint gray and the birds woke up. In the morning, the fire was dead. Ray crawled out of his tent, rubbing his face. "Dude," he said. "You smell that?" At first I thought he meant Kafitenit hitni, rotten meat, old blood, something dead, somewhere close. The smell was strongest near the wash. I walked over and looked down. There were tracks on the slope. At first, they looked like coyote prints. Right size, right shape, but they were too deep, like whatever made them weighed more than a coyote should. And every few prints, there was a weird smudge, almost like a heel mark, like something that could not decide how many legs it was supposed to have. I did not say anything. I told myself it was a big coyote. Maybe two. I told myself I had dreamt the voice. I broke the rules and talked myself out of what I felt. That was the first time. The second time was worse. Years? I said. I turned 28, then 30, then 33. I got certified as a wilderness EMT. I took more and more work with tribal police and the county. Eventually, I became one of the coordinators for a volunteer search and rescue team that covered a nasty stretch of high desert and canyon country along the New Mexico and Arizona border. To keep things vague, I will call it the Rim. The Rim is a maze of sandstone cliffs, pinene and juniper, and sudden canyons that fall away beneath you. There are old mines out there, some abandoned camps, a few unofficial climbing routes the younger guys like to show off on. Every year, we pull a couple of people out of that terrain. Most of them are sunburned, embarrassed, and very grateful. Some are not alive when we find them. After a while, you get numb to it. You look at a body at the bottom of a cliff, and you think about ropes and stretchers and radio calls, not birthdays and baby pictures. I told myself the things my grandfather talked about were just stories meant to keep kids from wandering too far. Then we got the call about the missing geologist. It was July. The kind of heat that makes the air above the road ripple. I was cleaning gear at the SAR barn when my phone rang. It was Mike, one of the deputies. "You on duty?" he asked. "More or less," I said. "What do you have?" "Missing person," he said. "Adult male, late 30s. Contract geologist out of Albuquerque. Name is Daniel Rhodes. He went out 2 days ago to survey some claims on the west side of the Rim. He was supposed to check in last night. Never did. Alone. Yeah. Company policy says they radio in every 4 hours. He missed 2 checks. Supervisor called us. His truck is sitting at the trailhead. Keys on the seat. No sign of him. "I am on my way," I said. We met at a dusty pullout where the dirt road stopped at the edge of the canyons. The geologist's truck was there, a white Tacoma with a faded company logo. Driver's door locked. Keys in plain sight on the bench seat. Mike had a topo map spread on the hood of his cruiser. A few volunteers had already arrived. Lena, our best tracker, was there with her dog Ghost, a Belgian Malinois that loved to work. According to his supervisor, Mike said, tapping the map, he was supposed to hike along this rim, drop into this side canyon, and catalog some outcrops here and here. 8-mile loop, more or less. He has done it half a dozen times this year. He knows it. Until he did not, Adrian said. He was another of our regulars. Until he did not, Mike agreed. There were no storms. Just heat. If he is down there without water, he is in trouble. Lena got a scent article from the supervisor, a worn shirt in a sealed bag, and let Ghost smell it. The dog focused, tail low but wagging slightly, ready to work. We started out around 10 in the morning. The heat was already climbing. Ghost picked up the trail immediately. Daniel had walked straight out from the truck, along a faint path that hugged the rim. We found boot prints now and then, half prints in patches of sand, scuffs on smooth rock. After about 2 miles, the trail narrowed at a pinch point. The rock, neck down with a sheer drop on the left and a steep talus slope on the right. You could die quickly if you fell off the left side. You could break everything and wish you were dead if you went off the right. Ghost slowed. His ears flattened. He stopped completely and gave a low whine. "Track," Lena said softly, giving the leash a little pull. The dog leaned forward, then jerked back like he had hit an invisible wall. The fur along his spine bristled. His mouth opened, but the sound he made was strangulate. "That is not nothing," Adrian said behind me. I stepped past Lena and looked at the rock. Daniel's boot prints led up to the narrow spot. There were no prints on the other side. "Maybe the wind wiped them," Tom said. "Hard rock, not much sand." "Ghost should still have scent," Lena said, "but he does not want to go there." Ghost stared at the narrow section with his whole body tense, like the trail itself was baring its teeth. "We mark it," Lena said after a moment. "Ghost does not like it. We do not force him." We flagged the spot and radioed the coordinates in. Then we split into a tighter grid pattern. I crossed the pinch point. As I stepped onto that narrow neck of stone, the temperature dropped. Not a little, enough that the sweat on my back cooled and I felt a faint shiver run under my skin. The air smelled faintly metallic, like wet pennies and old blood. I took 3 long steps, then 4 on the other side. The heat closed back over me like a heavy blanket. I told myself I had imagined it. We searched all day, dropped into side canyons, checked under every overhang that offered shade. We shouted his name until our throats hurt. At sunset, we pulled back to the trailhead, dusty and frustrated. Mike made the call to stand down until first light. You cannot see loose rock and bad footing with a headlamp out there. If you twist an ankle or fall, you just create another problem. We set up a small command trailer by the road. The company supervisor arrived, clutching a file. He looked sick with worry. "He knows what he is doing out there," the man kept saying. "He has 12 years of desert work. This is not like him." I told him we would find Daniel. At that point, primera belibet, Italiano. Around 3 in the morning, I stepped out of the trailer for air. The stars were fading, and the horizon was turning gray. Ghost paced restlessly on his line near the truck. He kept glancing toward the trail. "I do not like it either," I told him. We went back up at first light. More volunteers joined us. Deputies fanned out with us. This time we moved slower and checked more carefully. A little after 9, Adrian called on the radio. "Command, this is Team 2. We found some gear." "What kind?" "Mike. Ask it. Server pole. Notebook. GPS. Looks like Rhodes' stuff. It is scattered. Any sign of him?" Another pause. "Yeah, he is here. He is alive." Relief hit me so hard my knees felt weak. "Bring him to an extraction point," Mike said. "If he cannot walk, we will send Caleb with a litter." Negative on the litter. "He is walking," I frowned. 2 days in that heat and he was walking. I headed for their coordinates. The terrain slowed me down near the end. Broken rock, scrub, a tight passage between 2 boulders. They were in a pocket of shade under an overhang. Adrian and Tom looked tired, but fine. Between them stood a man in a faded field shirt, cargo pants, and a wide-brimmed hat. He held a half-empty bottle of water. "Rhodes?" I asked. He turned toward me, looked fine. His skin was a little tanned, but not burned. His lips were not cracked. His eyes were clear. He looked like someone who had gone for a long walk, not someone who had been missing in the desert for 2 days. "Yeah," he said. His voice was hoarse, but steady. I am Daniel. You guys from search and rescue? That is us, I said. I am Caleb. Mind if I check you out? I am okay, he said. But sure. I stepped closer. The air under the overhang was cooler. It also smelled wrong. There was a faint, sweet and rotten smell under the normal dust and sweat, like meat forgotten somewhere. Any dizziness? I asked. Headache, nausea. No. How much water did you have left? Enough. How much is enough? I pressed. He blinked, as if he had not expected the follow-up. I rationed, he said finally. I am fine. His pupils were equal and reacted to my penlight. His pulse at his wrist was strong and steady. 60 beats in a minute. Exactly 60. Any idea how long you were out? I asked. Yesterday, he said. Maybe the day before. You have been gone almost 2 days, Adrian said. Your boss is worried sick. Daniel's face moved in what might have been a frown if there had been more feeling behind it. I must have lost track of time, he said. Did you fall? I asked. Hit your head? No. Lose consciousness? No. Then what happened? He looked out past me, toward the bright canyon. I went down into a side canyon, he said. I heard something. Thought it was someone calling for help. I must have taken a wrong turn. What did you hear? I asked. Singing, he said. The words slid through me like cold water. What kind of singing? A woman's voice, he said. Echoing. I followed it. I thought someone needed help. What did you see down there? I asked. Shadows, he said. Rocks. Was. Ling. Or he had seen something that did not fit into words. Any hallucinations? I asked. Voices when you were alone. Shapes that were not there. He smiled. It was careful. It sat on his face like something he had put on. Sure, he said. The desert does that, right? What did they say? He shrugged. Does it matter? I wanted to push. Instead, I said, let us get you out of here. You can tell the doctor, he nodded. We started the walk back. The route took us along the rim again. The sun was higher now. Heat rolled off the rock. Adrian led. Tom followed behind. I stayed beside Daniel. At first, I told myself I was just watching him like an EMT should, in case he crashed. After a while, I realized I was watching him because something felt off. Most lost hikers move like their joints are full of sand. They stumble. They get clumsy when they are tired. Daniel did not stumble once. His steps were even imprecise. He stepped over rocks without looking down. His stride never changed. He also did not sweat much. My shirt stuck to my back. Adrian's hat was dark at the band. Tom's neck was shiny. Daniel had a faint ring of sweat at his collar and nowhere else. Do you want more water? I asked after an hour. He glanced at the bottle I held out. No, he said. I am fine. You should drink anyway, I said. We still have a way to go. He took the bottle, tipped it to his lips, and let a little water touch his mouth. Then he handed it back. When we got close to the pinch point, I watched him. He did not slow down. He did not look uneasy. Instead, he did something strange. His body shifted, like he was adjusting a pose. He rolled his shoulders, let out a louder breath, and squinted at the trail as if he was reminding himself to act cautious. Careful here, I said. It is narrow. He nodded and crossed. The temperature dropped for me again. The metallic smell hit me. I watched his breath. Mine fogged, just a little. His did not. I told myself it was the angle of the light. I told myself a lot of things. A little later, Adrian called a short break. We stopped in a thin stripe of shade under a small juniper. My legs were starting to feel the miles. I leaned against the trunk and took a long drink of water. Daniel stood a little apart, looking over the canyons. How are you doing? I asked. Fine, he said. You are allowed to be tired. You gave us some trouble out here, eh? Turn to me. You walked beside me, he said. You asked if I was human. I remembered saying something like that, half as a joke. Just remember you are human. My mouth felt dry again. It was just a figure of speech, I said. Was it? He asked. The way he said it made it sound like a real question. His eyes did not wander. They stayed on my face with an intensity that felt like pressure. Most people blink every few seconds in bright light. I counted silently. 10, 15, 20. He did not blink until I looked away. We eventually reached the trailhead. Ghost saw us, coming from the crate in the back of the cruiser. At first he tensed the way a working dog does when he sees subjects. Then, his ears flattened. He pressed himself against the far side of the kennel, as far from Daniel as he could get. His lips peeled back a little. No sound came out. Easy, ghosts, Lena said. It is just the subject. The dog did not believe that. None of us took that reaction as seriously as we should have. Procedure said Daniel had to be checked at the clinic. He did not fight it. He sat silently in the back of Mike's cruiser, hands folded, watching the road. At the clinic, Sirio took his vitals while I filled out forms. That is strange, she said, looking at the monitor. What is? I asked. Nothing bad, she said, just strange. His numbers are perfect. Okay, I said. Not good. Perfect, she said. Heart rate, exactly 60. Blood pressure, exactly 120/80. Oxygen saturation, 100%. Temperature, 98.6 on the dot. Nobody is that exact. It is like someone typed him in. She took his temperature manually. She checked his pulse. Old school. Same numbers. The PA came in, did his exam, and cleared Daniel. No dehydration. No heat exhaustion. No organ trouble. The man was, on paper, doing better than most of us who had been searching for him. You must have known what you were doing out there, the PA said. Most people I see after this kind of thing are on 4 fluids. I was careful, Daniel said. His supervisor hovered near the door, anxious and relieved at the same time. We will give you a couple days, the man said. Then you and I can talk next. Assignments. Daniel looked at him calmly. No, he said. The supervisor blinked. No. I'm done, Daniel said. I'm not going back out there. The way he said out there made my skin tighten. We can talk about it later, the supervisor tried. I feel fine, Daniel said. I am still not going back. I left soon after. As far as my job was concerned, we had done what we were supposed to do. A man got lost. We found him. Case closed. That is where things should have ended. They did not. In a small town, you hear things without trying. At the gas pump, in line at the grocery store, sitting at the one decent bar when you were too tired to drive home yet. At first, the comments were simple. Hey, that geologist you found? Guess he had his head on straight. Company bought us pizza for saving their guy. Not bad. Then the stories changed. One afternoon at the hardware store, I ran into one of the company drivers, a woman named Mariah. She looked like she had slept maybe 3 hours in the last 3 nights. You worked that road search, right? Se asked. Yeah, I said. We pulled him out. Did he seem normal to you? Every instinct I had shifted awake. What do you mean by normal? I asked. She moved a little closer. I have had to drive him to a couple follow-up appointments, she said. He just sits there in the back seat. Does not fidget, does not look at his phone, barely blinks. Riding with him feels like riding with a dummy they use in CPR class. She rubbed her arms. And he watches people in this weird way, she added. Not like a creep. More like he is studying them, memorizing. He went through something out there, I said. Sometimes people dissociate. Trauma does that. She gave me a flat look. I have hold guys after mine collapses and after explosions, she said. They are jumpy, angry, shut down. Sure, this is not bad. A few days later, I saw Serena at the clinic. "Your miracle man was back," she said. "Daniel?" I asked. She nodded. "Same vitals," she said. "Same perfect numbers." When I put the thermometer under his tongue, he looked at me and asked, "How long do I hold this?" "People ask that," I said. "Not like that," she said. It sounded like he was repeating a line someone taught him. When I said, "Until it beeps," he smiled like he was proud of himself for asking the right thing. I kept hearing more. A coworker of his mentioned that Daniel would sit at his desk for long stretches without touching his computer. Just sitting, staring at the people in the room. When someone asked what he was doing, Side A was practicing being normal. Lena told me Ghost refused to come into the barn the day Daniel stopped by to drop off a gift card as a thank you for the team. He parked. She said, he walked in. Ghost saw him through the open door and bolted under the truck. I had to drag him out after Daniel left. He peed himself. Dogs do not argue with themselves. They do not second-guess what their body tells them. My grandfather's voice came back to me clearly. They do not move right. They do not sound right. You feel it before you see it. I thought about driving out to the cemetery and sitting by his grave. I thought about saying the whole story out loud. I thought about asking him what I should do now. I did none of that. Instead, I did nothing. One night in late October, I went to a bar by a lake a few towns over. It was the place survey crews and field techs liked. Cheap drinks, a jukebox, a small deck over the water. I was not there to get drunk. I just did not want to sit in my trailer listening to the wind. I sat at the bar with a beer in front of me, watching the reflections on the dark water through the window. Someone sat on the stool beside me. "You are Caleb, right?" a man said. I turned. Daniel sat there in jeans and a flannel shirt that looked almost new. He had a bottle of beer in front of him. The label was unbroken. "That is me," I said slowly. "You are Rhodes." "Danielle," he said, "you pulled me out of the canyon." "The team did that," I said. "I just walked beside you." "You walked beside me," he repeated. "You asked if I was human." Hearing my own words like that made my stomach clench. "I was joking," I said. "Were you?" he asked, calm as ever. His eyes rested on my face and did not move away. No glance at my drink, no glance at the TV. Just steady, direct attention. "Can I buy you a drink?" Ask it. "You already have one," I said, nodding at his bottle. He looked at it, then back at me. "Yes," he said. "You are right, but people offer." That is the polite thing. That is what someone told me. "Who told you that?" I asked. He did not answer that question. Instead, he changed the subject. "You still work the rim?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "That is my job." "That is not what I asked," he said quietly. "I asked if you like it out there." I did not answer. He smiled a fraction. "Your people tell stories about those canyons," he said. "I have been reading coyote stories." "Which stories?" Words you do not say when the sun is gone. Hearing him mention witches in English was one thing. Hearing him get close, the other words we avoid at night made the hair on my arms stand up. "Those are just stories," I said, but it did not sound convincing even to me. "Are they?" he asked. He lifted the bottle and took a sip. I watched his throat. It seemed like he took the smallest amount possible, just enough to make it look real. "You changed jobs?" I asked. "Heard you told your boss you're not going back out there." "I did," he said. "He was upset." "Can you blame him?" I said. "You are good at what you do." "I am good at learning," he said. They moved me into the office. Data analysis reports. I sit at a desk and I watch people. "Watch them do what?" I asked. "Be themselves," he said. "Be human." He said it the way a biologist talks about a new species. "Why?" I asked. "So I can get better at it," he said. "At being human," I said. No, 10, 11. "Why do you need to get better at that?" I asked. He stared out at the water. Because they are starting to notice, he said. When they notice, they leave. Who? I said. The people near me, he said. Neighbors. People at work. The woman who takes the stairs when I am in the elevator. They do not know why they feel unease when I am around. They just do. He tapped his chest with one finger. They feel it here, he said. Like you do. I realized my heart was beating too fast. You are scaring people, I said. I do not mean to, he said. It would be easier if I could just... He stopped, then shook his head slightly. Never mind, he said. He finished his beer, or pretended to, and stood up. Thank you, he said. For what? I asked. For coming to find me, he said. For bringing me back. The word back sat heavy in my mind. He put money on the bar and walked out. I watched him go. As he stepped from the wooden floor to the concrete at the door, his foot bent in a way no ankle should. For a split second, it looked wrong, like too many joints are not enough. Then his leg adjusted, and he walked out as if nothing had happened. No one else seemed to notice. I stayed until closing. More beer did not help. A few weeks later, there was a fire in the next town over, where Daniel lived. I heard the basics on the radio from Mike, then more details on the news. Single story. Stucco house, rental, small yard, fire in the middle of the night. By the time the fire department arrived, flames were through the roof. They found a body in the living room, adult Malay. At first, that was all they said. Later, in the parking lot behind the station, I got more from Mike. Rhodes's place, he said. My mouth felt like cotton. "'Cause?" I asked. "Looks like a gas leak or a heater problem," he said. House was in bad shape. Old lines. But the medical examiner says he was dead before the fire really got going. How? I asked. Mike glanced around, then lowered his voice. He was cut open, he said. Deep cuts. Chest and stomach, organs gone. It looked like someone was field dressing a deer. Animals. After death. I tried. The me knows the difference, he said. This was done before death, or right around it. Clean cuts. No defensive wounds. No signs of a struggle. No sign of forced entry. Blood spatter says he was laid down and opened up. He scrubbed a hand over his face. I hate this kind of thing, he said. I went home and sat at my kitchen table in the bright light of my little trailer. I thought about Daniel on the floor, laid out like a carcass. I thought about skins. I thought about things that have to crawl out of their borrowed bodies when they are done with them. I tried hard not to think about what might have climbed up out of his winter. Kame. Snow fell on the rim and melted. We did snowmobile rescues and pulled a quadrider out of a ravine. Life moved forward. I told myself all of this was human. A killer with a knife. A fire. A man who had always been strange and I just had not noticed. Then Lena called. You sitting down? She asked. Not yet, I said, and sat. A hiker found bones up on the rim, she said, close to that pinch point Ghost hated. Human? I asked. Yeah, she said. Sheriff's office asked us to help recover them. I went up with them. She paused. They found ID, she said. Wallet, driver's license, company badge. Whose? I asked, even though I already knew. Rhodes, she said. Daniel Rhodes. That is impossible, I said. The me estimates they have been out there 8 or 9 months, she said, based on the weathering, insects, and plants growing through the bones. That puts time of death right around when he went missing the first time. We brought him down, I said. We walked him out. We took him to the clinic. I talked to him at the bar. I know, she said. I talked to him too. I remember his face. Ghost remembers his smell. But those bones have been there since that first search. Me is not wrong. I did not say anything. You all right? She asked. No, I said. Not really. Me neither, she said. I should not have told you this. but I knew you would want to know. Thanks, I said. I hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. I thought of ghosts refusing to cross that narrow place. I thought of the cold pocket of air and the metallic smell. I thought of Daniel's perfect heart rate and his careful smile. I thought of him telling me he watched people to learn how to be human. If the bones on the rim belonged to Daniel, down to his wallet and his ring, then the thing we brought back was not him. Something else walked out with us. Something learned to tell jokes, to talk about polite offers, to stand in line at the grocery store, to sit in a cubicle watching coworkers, something that sat in a bar next to me and thanked me for bringing it back. A year has passed since that call. I still work search and rescue. I still go out on the rim. I still walk past that pinch point. I feel the cold in that spot every time. I do not go alone anymore. At night, I keep my curtains closed. I do not whistle. If my radio crackles and someone calls my name from the dark, I make sure I see their face before I answer. I finally told my mother. We drove out to the cemetery and sat by my grandfather's grave. The sky was wide and clear. The wind moved through the dry grass. I told her about the missing geologist, the trail, the dog, the perfect vitals, the burned house, the bones. She listened until I finished. Her hands were tight together in her lap. He told you the rules, she said at last. Your grandfather, do you remember them? I remember, I said. I remembered them back then too. I just did not want them to be true. She nodded. Most people do not, she said. They talk themselves out of what they feel. That is how people get taken. She brushed some dust off the headstone. You were doing your job, she said. You heard someone might need help. You went. That is not wrong, is it not? I asked. I put that thing in a truck. I brought it into town. I put it in front of nurses, drivers, office workers. It watched them. It learned from them. That is not on you, she said, very quietly. Those things were here long before you were born. She tapped her chest like he had. Learn this part, she said. When something feels wrong in here, listen. You can worry you are being silly later. You can apologize later. But you listen in that moment. I looked out at the distant line of mesas. Ravens drew dark loops in the sky. The land looked the same as it always had, but it did not feel the same. A few months ago, I got an email from an address I did not recognize. No subject, no text, just one attachment. It was a grainy photo from a security camera in a bar. The quality was bad. The colors were washed out. You could still see enough. A man sat alone at a high table. Jeans, flannel shirt, beer bottle in front of him. His head was turned toward the door. His face was blurry, but I knew the shape of his jaw. I knew the way his shoulders sat. The timestamp was 3 weeks ago. The bar was in another state a couple 100 miles away. There was no message. Whoever sent it did not need to write anything. They knew I would recognize him. I deleted the email. Then I emptied the trash folder. That does not mean what was in the picture is gone. Something walked away from that burned house. It moved on. It is learning somewhere else now. I cannot fix that. I can only tell you my part, so this is why I am telling you. The next time you are out at night and you feel a cold prickle in your chest when someone walks past, or when a stranger looks at you a little too long, pay attention. The next time you are hiking and you hear singing from a place where no one should be, or a voice calling your name from a dark place where you cannot see a face, remember, there are things out in the wilderness that are not supposed to come back with us. If you hear them, if you feel them, you do not argue with yourself. You do not tell yourself you are crazy. You do not tell yourself you are being rude. You turn around, you walk away, and you do not look back.